Hey, how you doing? My name is Ryan, and today I'm reviewing and fixing the LEGO Marvel Avengers Tower set. This $500, 5,000 piece behemoth of a modular is the largest Marvel set ever made and the largest set I've ever built. So how can I improve it? Well, I'm gonna add some custom LEGO Marvel minifigures, accessories, and builds that I think are sorely missing from this set in the hopes of making it the ultimate LEGO Marvel display piece. But before I fix this, I need to know what already works. So let's dive into what's good about this set as is. The shape of the building is really impressive, not just in scale, but in smoothness. This front slope, the gray archways outlining the glass, the curved back, the Quinjet landing pad overhang, all of these patterns and shapes blend really well together, making a very clean and recognizable silhouette of Avengers Tower. And the mix of blue glass, dark gray windows, light bluish gray bricks, and medium azure accents also work rather harmoniously. Not only that, but the color contrast between the building tones and the Chitauri chariots, most of which are in dark tan and dark gray, is striking, making for a coherent display when everything is laid out together. The conceit of having all of these Technic pieces scattered throughout the build makes for some intriguing posing opportunities, but I'd be lying if I said I intend to use them all that much. Same goes for the broken window effect on the second floor shown here on the box. I tend to prefer these buildings without predetermined damage, and I think they look much cleaner in their more pristine states. Same with the Daily Bugle actually. I tend to keep these buildings as clean and as damage-free as possible. The tower is of course adorned with a large brick-built A on both sides, and that brings me to my first Avengers Tower upgrade. The big A looks great, but it only tells half the story, because before this building was the Avengers Tower, it was the Stark Tower. I really wish designers gave us the option to name the building as we see fit, so I'm hopping into Studio to fulfill that wish. I tried two ways to create the Stark logo, one with tiles and one with more bricks. After some experimentation, the bricks won out. A fun detail is that each letter is individually attached to this Technic lift arm, so you can recreate the damage the Stark sign takes as the Battle of New York goes on, from Stark to A. It's strange we didn't get this detail, as it's even included in the instruction manual for Avengers Tower. You start off with the Stark sign, and then as you go on flipping through the pages, more and more letters fall off. I think this brick-built Stark sign looks really nice and is a great way to have both the Avengers Tower and the Stark Tower at your disposal. I love when Marvel modulars can take on multiple forms. I think the Sanctum Sanctorum is a great example of this, and now Avengers Tower can do the same thing. But the large marquee sign is just one of the many fixes I have in mind for this set, so let's hop into the interiors to see what can be improved there. Now, the tower almost inverts the traditional structure of LEGO modular floors. Look at any LEGO modular building and you'll find the bottom floor is usually the most detailed, and there's diminishing returns as you go up. Now of course there are exceptions to this rule like the Boutique Hotel, but for the most part this rule stands. However, Avengers Tower kind of does the opposite. The ground floor is relatively empty on the inside, depicting a rather sterile lobby for the time heist in Endgame. Details are sparse as the designers had to account for the number of figures that fans would want to place down here. Moving up to the second floor, we have Dr. Helen Cho's lab, with the reduced version of her regeneration cradle, an artistic depiction of the Jarvis vs. Ultron computer program battle, and the glass bridge from Endgame's Cap vs. Cap fight. This level, in my mind, is the perfect amalgamation of movie scenes, and it's what makes this set so much fun in concept. Now, it wouldn't be a big Marvel set without some sort of Iron Man lab, and floor 3 is just that. You have your large screens, your hologram of the rescue armor, which by the way usually hints at a new figure iteration, and if that's the case, I'd be really happy as we're well overdue for a good rescue armor minifigure. And of course you have Tony Stark's robot, Dummy, on this floor. Basically, take any Iron Man armory set, condense it into a small square, and that's what this floor is. Floor 4, however, is a very strange choice, depicting Loki's interrogation cell on the helicarrier. While it's an iconic scene and a striking visual, I'm not sure it has a place in Avengers Tower. I know there aren't a lot of scenes inside Avengers Tower, but there's enough that you could have pulled from without having to use a different scene from a different location. So I think I'll make my second improvement here, and it's a pretty simple one. If LEGO is going to include this scene from the helicarrier, you might as well go all out and include Coulson's destroyer prototype gun somewhere in this scene. It's a rather easy build to piece together from video game reference footage, and it makes this vignette a bit more complete. Moving up to the hangar, which includes a well-designed mini Quinjet and the Avengers party room behind it. The Quinjet fits one figure snugly, and I appreciate the addition here. I went back and forth whether or not I would have preferred Tony Stark's suit walkway or a Quinjet landing pad here, and there really is no wrong answer, as both would have looked fantastic. The main scene depicted behind the runway is the game of who can lift Thor's hammer from Age of Ultron. The Mjolnir piece being affixed to the table with a 1x1 clip was a great touch. Even higher is Tony's apartment, with some recognizable artwork pieces and the imprint of Loki after being smashed by the Hulk on the floor. While not a large space, there is enough detail here to distinguish this scene from others in the set. Again, this is kind of the modular structure where the higher you go, the smaller the room and the less space for detail. Even higher still is a kind of secret lab where Tony and Bruce can examine the scepter and create Ultron. I'm not entirely sure why this vignette wasn't combined with the armory a couple levels below to make a more complete scene, so let's do some redecorating here. First, take the scepter and the table and affix it in Tony's workshop on the lower level. I'll also pull the two blue flags on the top floor and place them down here as well. Then we'll add this new weapon shelf on the top floor. It's inspired by a mini build from the older Avengers Tower set. Now more of our heroes have the ability to grab their gear from bows, guns, hammers, and shields. Pull the Jarvis and Loki displays from the lab and clip them onto the top floor to complete the fix. Now it could be as if the Avengers get the call that the city's in danger, they run upstairs, grab their gear, be debriefed on the mission by Jarvis, and roll out to save the day. Back to the interior breakdown, on the top of the building is Eric Selvig's machine to open the portal using the Tesseract, except without the Tesseract as part of the build. Kind of a strange choice there by the designers. Also, each level has an elevator, with the doors on the interrogation room being out of order, thus banning the Hulk from entering. Great touch. Now within each of these floors are some fantastic detail pieces, most of which were masterfully designed by the LEGO artists. Some of my favorite accessory prints are Armin Zola, this Tony Stark magazine from the first Iron Man, the Battle of New York newspaper, the Avengers issue 1 comic, and Captain Marvel's pager. Those last two should sound pretty familiar to subscribers, as I have previously designed my own versions of those two prints. And while the official comic book cover design is better than mine, I think my version of the pager blows Legos out of the water. The choice to go on a 2x1 tile was the wrong one, I think, as it messed up with the proportions of the original prop. Now, I believe the choice to make it a 2x1 tile was done because they knew it was going to be a sticker, and nobody would want to apply a 1x1 sticker on a 1x1 tile. Because I'm using custom prints, I can go smaller with my design and smaller with my tile choice. While the official sticker does look rather nice, it's lacking some of the detail that I put in my design that I think is sorely missing. So yeah, not to pat myself on the back, but I think I made a better pager. Now, for the most part, the artists do a wonderful job mixing LEGO's art style with the fidelity to these Marvel props. But I think there are a few accessories and designs that are missing from the Avengers Tower set, so let's make them. The first upgrade is a redo of a previous design of mine, the Avengers Initiative briefing folder. Last time I printed the design on a 2x2 dark tan tile, and it lacked some color contrast. So this go around, I tried a 2x2 tile in tan, and the colors are much more vibrant and bold. Let's add this piece to Tony's workshop like he's thinking about joining but also doesn't really care. Keeping with the theme of informative documents, I think the Avengers Tower set is missing this Tesseract dossier, a key prop about a key MacGuffin from the first film. Hopping into Illustrator, I'm using the Shape tool to lay out the main elements first, as that's the easy part. To draw the 3D Tesseract, I'm making sure each face is a different shade of purple/blue to allow the lighting and shadows to do a lot of the perspective work for me. I also found an SVG, that's scalable vector graphic, version of the shield logo to use on some of my designs, but I had to simplify the wings to make sure it's still legible when shrunk down. And after some real text, fake text, and highlights on the Tesseract are added, our classified document is finished. I'll print this on a 2x3 white tile, and I believe it'll look best in the interrogation room. My next design is a deeper cut from a film we've never gotten sets for, but I think the Avengers Tower is the perfect opportunity to add this. It's Thor's driver's license from the first Thor movie. Now, is this an essential prop? No, not at all. But is it the kind of obscure prop that LEGO designers would absolutely add to a giant set like Avengers Tower? I think so. First, I'm blocking out the mountain and skyline shapes on the top of the license in dark blue. The bottom right hand side will mostly consist of fake text in black and red to fill out the government-esque look of a driver's license. But once that's all done, the main challenge is drawing a simplified version of Thor on the left hand side. I'm tracing over an official figure render and removing some of the details in the hair and beard to make it legible when tiny. Now, this design might be a bit too playful in colors, but I think it translates well onto a LEGO 2x1 tile, and I think it'll look best in the Avengers party room as if the rest of the Avengers are making fun of Thor's government ID. One more tower upgrade for now, and it's a piece I'm shocked we haven't seen yet in LEGO form. That's the Time GPS from Avengers Endgame. On a round 1x1 tile, I'm drawing the main shapes of this wristwatch technology. I start with circles until I realize that this GPS is made up really of only one base shape, this boxy octagon-like circle. So once I nailed that, it's just copying it over and over, recoloring the blue highlights and making the wristwatch strap dark gray instead of black. If this print turns out well, I might order several copies so that each of the Avengers in the time heist have their own GPS. As for placement, I'll give it to either Tony in disguise or 2023 Captain America. And as a reminder, all of my custom designs and builds are available for free in the link in the description box below. Just click on the link and type in the password HEY, all lowercase, no spaces. And while you're down there, if you're enjoying this video so far and haven't done so, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more LEGO videos like this. Now, there are still plenty of fixes left for Avengers Tower, and we'll go over them soon, but first, I need to cover one of the key selling points of this set, the minifigures. We get 31 minifigures in this set, and 17 of them are exclusive. But don't let the large number fool you, as not all exclusive figures are made equally. Pepper Potts and Thor are identical designs to previous versions, just with new hairpieces. Black Widow is identical to her 2023 Quinjet iteration, but now with leg printing. Eric Selvig is just a new configuration of pre-existing pieces, and the 3 S.H.I.E.L.D. agents have identical prints, but just different heads. On the other hand, some of the new figures look fantastic. The battle-damaged Iron Man Mark 6 suit might be one of my favorite Iron Man figures to date. The new Hawkeye is, I think, the definitive version of the character. Vision is a wonderful experiment in quasi-translucent pieces and printing, and the Ultron Mark 1 is a great design all around. Do I prefer the original Mark 1 or this one? I'm not sure, both look really good. Maybe an amalgamation of those pieces might make for the best figure. However, am I bummed that 4 of the figures in this set are Chitauri Warriors? Yeah. Or that we get 2 Captain America figures? Kind of. Or that we get Wong and Wasp despite them never interacting with Avengers Tower? Yeah. But for what we get, this is a great collection of Marvel minifigures that honestly celebrates what the brand can offer, both good and bad. That being said, I think there are some glaring omissions in this set, figures that we should have gotten. Think like Purple Shirt Bruce Banner, or Agent Sitwell, or Crossbones, or heck, even Agent Coulson. And I hope you know where this is going. For Bruce, it was a simple design, as his costume is really just a dark purple shirt. Get the collar done first, then add some buttons, wrinkles, and shading. Hopefully, this simple design makes the figure feel more authentic to LEGO's design aesthetic. throw in some dark tan legs, and Bruce's hair and head from Thor Ragnarok, and I think this figure will do the trick. Put it next to the other Avengers included in the tower set, maybe even on his motorcycle, and I think this Bruce is a fantastic upgrade for this Marvel set. Next up, how about a more antagonistic character like Agent Rumlow, pre-Crossbones transformation. This character made his debut in Winter Soldier, but he did appear in Avengers Endgame, even in Avengers Tower. I'm gonna make his design from Winter Soldier, and the main design elements on the torso are these military-looking straps that form an X in the center. I'm using dark gray for the fill and bright gray for the outlines to separate these straps from the black torso. Then, I'm adding stitching highlights made from small rounded lines. I'll create one thread, duplicate it, and flip it for all the straps. Next, I'll create this middle clip in gray, add some white wrinkles on the t-shirt fabric, and a neckline to the top of the torso. For the face, I'm thinking Jango Fett would be rather accurate to actor Frank Grillo. Add some spiky black hair, and these short sleeves from Mission Impossible's Ethan Hunt, and I think we have a fantastic Agent Rumlow figure. But there's another agent that desperately needed to be in this set as a minifigure, and that's Agent Coulson. Coulson already has a wonderful figure design based on his comic appearances, which is pretty funny because Coulson as a character was made for the movies, then was added to the comics, and then LEGO made a figure of him, but we still haven't gotten a movie Coulson figure yet. I'm going to start with my custom Mobius design as sort of a template, because much of the layout is applicable here. Just tweaking the lapel lines, changing the color of the suit to black, detail lines to light gray, and tie to dark teal with stripes. The biggest challenge and the most recognizable element is the Shield Agent badge. It's kind of the key to turning this suit into Coulson's suit. I'll start with this slightly curved rectangle and add a yellow color bar on the top for his clearance level. Then I'll import that SVG of the Shield logo from earlier and adjust the wings for scale. Then I'll just redraw the outline of the badge to keep all of the design within the confines of the ID. It's a really simple way to keep all the interior patterns and design organized and within the confines of whatever shape you're making, and it's a technique that I used on Coulson's tie. For the face, I'll use this Bob Cratchit and Bespin guard head. The hair is a combed over piece in brown, and the legs are just plain black legs. But while this figure looks nice, it's still missing something to me. His Captain America trading cards. On an artboard for a 2x1 tile, I'll add a colored background and outline. Next, I'll import this digital Captain America model I made up in Photoshop as reference and trace over every element to redraw this figure. I'm simplifying the colors and detail lines because this will be a tiny Captain America on a 1x1 tile in white. Finally, I'll draw a circle on the top right hand corner with a 10 on the inside for the card number of this vintage cap. Give this print to Agent Coulson, and now he's ready to ask Captain America for an autograph. Much better. And for my final custom minifigure, how about Agent Sitwell? He has a strong design from the video games, simple yet effective, so I'll do my best to replicate it here. Starting with my custom Renslayer design, I'll tweak the lapels and recolor the entire suit to dark gray. Now there are two new design elements for the Sitwell minifigure, the first of which is his polka dot tie. So I'm adding a bunch of circles, even some that go outside the border, but I'll use my outline on top technique to confine the pattern to the tie and avoid having to redraw a bunch of half circles. Then it's time for another shield badge. Sitwell will have an orange stripe to show his different clearance level from Coulson, but the rest is pretty much the same. Logo, text, outline on top. I did tweak Sitwell's ID badge clip for some design variation, but with that, the torso was done. The legs are plain dark gray legs, and the head comes from this Jurassic Park figure, although I'm not sure what the character's name is, but it works really well for Agent Sitwell. Now there's one more figure that came with the Avengers Tower set that I haven't mentioned yet, and that's Kevin Feige. The president of Marvel Studios makes his LEGO debut as a fascinating addition to this Marvel modular. Dubbed Kevin the Avengers fan by designers, this figure includes a dark blue jacket, dashing smile, and Kevin Feige's signature Marvel branded baseball caps. Now, compared to my custom Kevin Feige, the official version certainly has more resemblance to the man in question, even if I think the torso is a bit generic. However, the figure itself is not what I want to upgrade. It's his accessories. The official set gives Kevin a cup of coffee and shawarma, effectively placing him into the world of the Avengers. And while that's a cute idea, I would have leaned a bit further into him literally being Kevin Feige of Marvel Studios and give him an accessory that dubs him as such. I thought a custom Avengers film slate would be the perfect accessory for Kevin Feige. Previous versions of the clapperboard used the more antiquated design with the black and white. However, I want Kevin's to be the more modern electronic film slate. So on a 2x2 tile, I'll draw out my custom clapperboard design with rainbow stripes and digital display. You might even recognize the time code I use, 050412, as it's the American release date for the first Avengers movie. Add in the film's logo on the bottom and a KF signature on the side, and you have a much more fitting accessory for this Feige minifigure. It's almost symbolic, giving Stan Lee the Avengers comic and Kevin Feige the clapperboard, two creative masterminds holding symbols of their work. And with all the new figures, prints, and builds added to my tower, I think I've successfully fixed this Marvel modular. I mean, look, the LEGO Avengers Tower build was already a fantastic set to begin with, but I think I made it just a little bit better. And again, all of my upgrades, from the torso prints, to the detail designs, to the builds, are available for free at the link in the description. Just enter the password HeyHey, all lowercase, no spaces. And I'd love to know what you guys think of my Avengers Tower fixes. Which ones do you like and which ones do you think I'm missing? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.